Hello, Henderson. How about some Las Vegas? A little North Las Vegas? Well, I represent the Idaho's 1st Congressional District, but I'm also a Las Vegas Wildcat. I graduated from Las Vegas High School in 1985. Don't do the math, then you'll know my age. And I love Las Vegas and I love this state. And I think what you're about to do on Tuesday is one of the most important things in this election. I want to tell you why I'm supporting Ted Cruz. I went to Washington, D.C. in 2010, not because I was mad at the Democratic Party. I went to Washington, D.C. because I was mad at the Republican Party. I had been a state legislator for 4 years, and every time I had an issue that I wanted to deal with at the state level, the answer was, you can't do anything about it because the feds won't let you. And I kept thinking, who are the feds? That's not the nation that we founded. That's not what I learned in government. Wait, I didn't pay attention in government in high school, but that's not what I was supposed to learn in government in high school. And I knew that it was up to the states to decide the destiny of this nation. But we have too many, not just Democrats, but Republicans in Washington, D.C. that continue time and again letting the feds get away with it, letting the federal government take complete control of everything in our lives. And I went to Washington, D.C., I thought, with 87 other Republicans who promised that they were going to change the way that Washington worked. Guess what happened to those Republicans? Washington changed them. And I was disappointed. And I kept thinking, we need more men and women to go back there to actually change those things. And as you know, 2 years later, there was a senator from Texas who went to Washington, D.C., who decided that he was going to be energized and he was going to do whatever was necessary to change, even if his leadership didn't like him, even if the media didn't like him, even if anybody else in Washington didn't like him. And I want you to remember this, especially those of you who are not yet convinced that you should support Ted Cruz. We've had 3 Republican nominees in the last few years. Some of them are men that I really, really liked. One of them was Bob Dole. If you think about him, the media said that he was the electable one. Then after Bob Dole, who did we get? John McCain. Come on. If you remember what they said about him, he was the electable one. And even Mitt Romney, who I assume many people here liked, everyone said that he was the electable one. Well, guess what? They weren't elected because the media turned on them on a dime. The moment they get the nomination, the moment they become the nominee, they're no longer the electable one, they're the enemy. And the reason they do that is because they always pick as the electable one the one that they can destroy in the media. But Ted Cruz will not allow himself to be destroyed. He's had every knife coming at him, not just from the front, but from the back and from every side. You know, I love this country. I actually was born and raised in Puerto Rico. I moved to Las Vegas when I was in high school, when I was 13 years old. Then I went to BYU, and then I went to University of Washington. I was lucky enough to marry a young, beautiful woman from Boise, Idaho, and the rest is history. That's why I'm living in Idaho. But as a young boy here in Las Vegas High School, I never dreamed that I would be a member of Congress. I never dreamed that I would be able to live every one of my dreams. My mom was a single mom. I was her only child. And she told me as a young boy that I could become anything that I wanted to become as long as I worked hard, played by the rule, got an education, and made sure that I looked back, that it wasn't just about me taking, but it was about me giving back to the American people and to my community. I'm grateful for her. She passed away 10 years ago. She's the most amazing woman that ever lived. But she gave me a vision for the future. And what she gave me in 1981, she was a Democrat, who in 1981, when we moved to to Las Vegas, she decided to register as a Republican. And she did that because of one man, Ronald Reagan. She believed in him, and she believed that he had changed the world just by 1 year being in office. And she had hope and faith that he would change the things that were happening. Well, we need such a man right now. And I'm going to be honest with you. You guys are going to be mad at me. I don't think Ted Cruz is the next Ronald Reagan. We don't need another Ronald Reagan. We need a Ted Cruz. The time for Reagan was in 1980. The time for Ted Cruz is now. 2 weeks ago, I was deciding who I was going to support in this race. I had actually supported Rand Paul before Ted Cruz. He stepped out, and I thought I was going to stay out of the race. But two things happened, and I'm going to leave you with this. If you're still undecided, I want you to remember these two things. If you remember, one thing that happened was the Marco Rubio-Chris Christie debacle. And I'm just going to be very honest about that. I like Marco Rubio. He's a good friend. However, I saw him being destroyed by Chris Christie. And if you think that that's all they're going to get, imagine what the Clinton-Obama machine are going to do to him. Chris Christie is just a bully. The Clinton-Obama machine with the media are going to slice his throat, because that's how ruthless they are, and we need somebody who's willing to fight back. The second thing that happened was just about a week ago when I woke up on a Saturday morning, I believe it was Saturday morning, and I found out that one of my favorite people in the world, Justice Antonin Scalia, passed away. I was stunned. I had met him a couple of times. I knew him but didn't know him as a friend. But I felt that a friend had died, that somebody that I cared about deeply had died. And I was stunned, almost in depression for a day. And that, to me, was the clarifying moment when I realized there's only one man on the stage who doesn't need to be told by his advisors who the next Supreme Court justice is going to be. He actually knows who the next Supreme Court justice is going to be. And he knows that because he practiced in the Supreme Court. He was a Supreme Court clerk, and he has been a conservative lawyer defending our Constitution his entire life. That's why I support Ted Cruz, and I hope that all of you will support him as well. Thank you very much.